What's happening, everyone? I'm currently in the flat on my own. My wife and kid are away, and I have a bit of time on my hands. And when I have a little bit of time on my hands, I naturally start thinking about football. Next season is going to be incredible, isn't it? I just cannot wait for it. Um, I started thinking about who's likely to win the league, and obviously Manchester City are the favourites. Winning the league by 12 points, they did it at a canter, getting to a Champions League final, winning the League Cup. They are a serious proposition, and they are already being very active and intimidating in the transfer market. However, I started thinking about their Manchester cohabitors, Manchester United, and I think that they could be real contenders for the league next season. I think that they have obvious frailties. There are areas that they need to improve, and there are question marks about maybe there's some positions in their defence, maybe some positions in their midfield, maybe their manager. There are question marks, and we need to discuss that and bring that into our thinking. But I also think that they have the crux of a really strong team. And last year, although it will feel for Manchester United fans, I imagine, fairly anticlimactic, I think that they can take some nuggets of positivity. And if it all goes well from here on in, it could see them return to the summit of the Premier League, which has been a long time for them. I think it's 4 years now without a trophy. So, that's long in itself. But the fact that they haven't won the league since Ferguson is really significant. So they will be desperate for it. Last season could have been slightly different. I think, finishing second in the league, there's no shame in that. I think they got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, the semi-finals of the League Cup, and they obviously went out of the Champions League far too early in the group stages. That game against Istanbul was telling, wasn't it? I thought that was going to be curtains for Solskjaer, but he proved himself to at least have the opportunity to fight for another day. So they now look forward, and they've managed to secure the services of Raphael Varane and Jadon Sancho. It's huge. Huge. The pursuit of Jadon Sancho became comical. They pursued him for a year. They were desperate for him. They needed that improvement on the right wing, and he will change the entire complexion of their team. The way that he can carry the ball, the numbers, the goals and assists that he will deliver, and the impact that his acquisition will have on the front three, it's almost insurmountable. If they can keep hold of Paul Pogba, if they can potentially improve the position where Fred is going to be playing, if they lose Paul Pogba but manage to sign somebody equally, or at least as close to equal as you can in terms of his brilliance, there is no reason why they can't go one better than they did last year and improve on their second place finish. When you think about the players that they have, Luke Shaw for England, outrageously good. Harry Maguire, incredible. Bruno Fernandes is a player I run out of superlatives for. I genuinely do. I think that he is dazzling. 28 goals last season in all competitions. Those numbers, that is not mucking about. 28 goals. Also, the fella is there all the time. He's never injured. He is an ever-present. Played over 3,000 minutes for Manchester United last year. When you've got somebody like him, I know he can be a bit sulky, and I know that he can be a bit petulant at times, but that is because he is striving for the best. That is because he is demanding the best, not only from himself, but from his teammates around him. And when somebody like that lands at the club, elevates everything, I think that his standards will demand excellence, and his standards will demand that Manchester United compete for the league. It will be difficult. Lots of people are going to be pushing for it, but there is a serious chance that Manchester United could win the league next season. There are obvious areas that they need to improve. I think the first thing is they need to stop going behind. They fell behind 17 times last season. That is obviously not good enough. You just can't keep relying on the comeback. The comeback was impressive, something that we celebrated a lot. You talk about the spirit and the determination and the belief, and all of the above is true, but 17 times before conceding the first goal, what's going on? That's totally unacceptable. Home form was ridiculous. I think they only got 9 wins at home last year. That's just nowhere near enough. You will not win the league with that sort of form. There are reasons for that. We can explore them. The lack of fans at Old Trafford is obviously going to be significant. They won't have to deal with that this season. I also think that due to fan pressure, there is a slightly different ambience around the club, the feeling. Obviously, the relationship between the fans and Glazer isn't good, but it seems like owing to the protests, they seem to be listening. They seem to be at least open to listening to the concerns of Manchester United fans. So the harmony is better. So having the fans in the stadium will surely mean that you accrue more points. Having a better relationship with the board seems to be listening. I even think something as superficial was putting a bit of effort into the stadium. I mean, it seems like they've done a bit of a patch-up job on the stadium itself, a lick of paint here and there and things like that. The concerns seem to be being listened to. So those two things should be conducive to, firstly, not falling behind, and secondly, winning more matches at home. I also think that with Manchester United, we often focus on the negative. We often ask a question, does Aaron Wan-Bissaka offer enough going forward? Is Victor Lindelof good enough to play for Manchester United? Fred and McTominay, is it strong enough as a pivot? All of the above are genuine concerns, but what I think we don't do is look at the team as a whole and acknowledge its brilliance. Their first 11 is top tier. I think you could actually make a case for their first 11, on paper at least, being the best in the league. People, I'm sure, in the comments are going to be annoyed at that statement because they're going to talk about City or talk about Chelsea or whatever. But I honestly think that their first 11 is up there for being the best in the league. In fact, let's go through it very quickly. So it will be, in goal, you've got Henderson or De Gea. I would say Henderson is probably not quite ready, therefore De Gea's in goal. But, it's 50-50 really. So let's say De Gea. You go De Gea in goal. You then got a back four that goes Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Raphael Varane, Luke Shaw. That is top tier in every position. Of course, we can explore Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Is he good enough going forward? Does he offer enough going forward for Manchester United, a club that have rich traditions of overlapping fullbacks? But he's a really good player. And again, we focus on the negative without acknowledging quite what player he is. Across the rest of that back line, you've got Champions League Varane, Harry Maguire, who has excelled of late, and Luke Shaw, who's England's best player in the Euros, an England team that got to the final. So I think my point is already proven. That is the kind of levels at the club. Fred will then be a holding midfielder. Again, okay, perhaps they need to improve upon that. Perhaps they will. But even if they don't, Fred is still a decent player. He can still do a job. In front of Fred, it then goes Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. I mean, that is just outrageously good, isn't it? I mean, you've got Raphael Varane and Paul Pogba, two of France's best players. Two of the best players to have ever come out of France, in fact. Joining, in fact, the traditions of Eric Cantona and Laurent Blanc, both at Manchester United. And of course, Gabriel Obertan. And then the front three will probably go, Jadon Sancho, Edinson Cavani, Marcus Rashford, with Martial pushing for a place in that team. That is phenomenal. That is an exquisite first 11. And if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can get it right, if he can get the feeling of the club correct, there is no reason why they cannot seriously compete for the league. Do I think they will do it? I think it's going to take something incredibly special to stop Manchester City this year. I think Manchester City are looking borderline impervious. I think they're just phenomenal. They won the league by 12 points and they've gone out and signed Jack Grealish, and they may still sign Harry Kane. So I'm intimidated by what Manchester City are doing. But when I look at this Manchester United team, when I think about the players in that team, I truly believe that Manchester United can win the Premier League next season. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to be in the comments. As soon as this video goes live, I'm going to be in the comments. So I really want to hear your thoughts. I think it's an interesting debate. First 11, where do they sit? Do they have a better first 11 than Man City? Not a better squad, but a first 11. If not, do they have the second best first 11 in the league? Let me know where you think Manchester United will finish next season. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me the honour of giving it a like. And if you really enjoyed it, please click subscribe. I'll see you all very shortly.